picture I wanted to put up, but I can't find it.
Well, we're live, Vin, so good morning.
Good morning, Michael Knight. How are you? It's Monday.
It is a
And that
Monday.
means it's
Is it Monday?
February. It's Groundhog Day, and it's
Is
Mikey
it Monday
Vinnie.
where you are too? Do we have the same day of the week, regardless of what state we're in?
I didn't look outside, so I'm not sure if it's Monday yet. You think it is here too?
I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's Monday here, but I just don't know if it's Monday there.
Yeah, I think it's Monday here and there. I think Monday will rear its head. I mean, I don't what is the international date line? Is it somewhere just east of Japan, I guess, or I always get confused with where that is, and because I know that they call Japan the land of the rising sun because the sun comes up first somewhere east of Japan.
The international date line is, well, you'll know it when you see it.
Is it
because you're going along and everything's fine, and then suddenly it's tomorrow.
Well, do they have like when you come into California, they have that nice big sign, "Welcome to California." When you come into Washington, "Welcome to Washington." Spanky Spankowitz, governor.
Is Spanky still governor? Is Spanky still governor?
Spanky got reelected for a 9th term as governor. So Spanky Spankowitz, governor. And you see that, and you know that, and he's the governor, and so when you cross the date line, does it have a big sign that says like something ethereal, like Mr. Spock standing there with his fingers going, "Welcome to tomorrow"?
It's Walt Disney that welcomes you to Tomorrowland.
I was going to say that's why he would have Tomorrowland. That's kind of cool. So. Here we are in February. No one was killed at the hands of ICE over the weekend, so that's good. That's very good, actually, and it seems like things
not that they didn't try.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they were out there patrolling the streets looking for somebody.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out, I guess, if Tom Homan is quieting the situation, making the situation at least better. Is he preparing it for a drawdown? He says he is. President Slapdick says, no, we're not drawing down. We're not leaving Minneapolis. So there's disagreement, I guess, even between him, the President Slapdick, and the guy he sent there, Tom Homan.
There's so much give and take in the management style of the Trump regime.
Yeah, definitely
they can't stay on message for very long. So
it's not what they teach in the Wharton School, is it?
It leads to misunderstandings and people saying things and doing things, hoping to advance their own cause and become more powerful in the regime. So you have to understand that they're doing their best, and this is what their best looks like. It's not very good, but it is their best.
This is their best, huh?
This is as good as it's going to get.
This is what they got. Wow.
Big story
kind of
was
this is the best that the government of the most powerful nation in the world, although
that was at one time.
It can produce. It should be. It should be at least a sign that that branch of the government, the executive branch of the government, is on the same page.
Not really. They can't even figure out what they're doing with the Kennedy Center. They're going to shut it down and call it something else when they're done with it. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to put in new bathrooms, new lighting, new parking areas.
They're going to put a White Castle in.
Damn good idea. Now that's long overdue.
Yeah, they're going to put a White Castle in. You know what? If they put a White Castle in the lobby or something like that, who am I to complain? I just don't want to be around for the third act.
Well, wasn't it F. Scott Fitzgerald that said there's no second act in American letters and affairs and futures? You can have one act, and that's all you're going to get. If you're waiting for your second act, you're going to wait forever. There is no second act for
third act. Could get a little. Third act could get a little rough.
Well, now Shakespeare wrote with more than 2 acts. He wrote 3 acts and 4 acts. It worked for him. And if anybody had success, it would be Shakespeare. His longevity is something that you can credit to him.
Yeah. 2
Seattle Seahawks shirt I see.
Yes, of course. It's
the Seattle. They're in California. The Seahawks have left the state of Washington. They've come to the great state of California, and they are at their practice facility somewhere in Northern California, within driving distance to Santa Clara.
Well, now I know that was it many teams who would use. Was it Alameda College or Laney College or something like that? The teams would use as a practice facility.
That sounds familiar.
Opposing teams that would go in early to play the 49ers. They obviously wouldn't use, although, well, that's an interesting question. Being is that they are an NFC team and the 49ers are an NFC team.
Can they use the 49ers?
Are they practicing at the 49ers facility?
I know the 49ers want a good reputation, but that seems a little too generous to me.
Yeah, it does. It seems a little out of, because these teams are rivals. There's no doubt about it, that these two teams, but they're not two teams that hate each other, I don't think. I don't get the hate that I get like between the Steelers and the Ravens or the Jets and the Patriots.
I think you're right there. I think professionally they are at arm's length, but emotionally they do not hate one another.
Yeah, there's not that hardcore, burning 49er jackets and stuff like that, like there is in those heated rivalries that we see, back east, basically. There's some pretty hot, Chicago and Green Bay is another one that are serious. There's serious hate going on there between those two teams. The executives of the teams don't like each other. The players, as a rule, don't like each other.
The grounds crew for each team criticizes the way they keep the field. No, they don't like each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other either. So I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find out from somebody where they're practicing, and I'll try to have that information on Wednesday. I should have probably thought about it, but they did leave yesterday,
and they have to keep the cameras at a distance. They don't want anybody videoing their run throughs.
Well, because everything you get from players now, unless you have some kind of prearranged agreement with the player, everything you get from players for the media is basically going to be at Media Day, which will be tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And that always tends to be just an absolute zoo. And it's worse now since they decided to open it up to fans and let fans come and watch it. And you have influencers that are now admitted to the Media Day. So between the fans, watching the media circus, the circus itself, and the players, we start the TikTok running on what's the stupidest question somebody will ask on media day.
Let's see.
And somebody will ask a stupid question. Just an absolute stupid question.
I always like to go to the players that don't have a crowd around them. They're going to play in the game. They're going to make the same amount. They're going to enjoy the notoriety. There's nobody asking them questions. And I find that that's an interesting person. Ask that guy what he remembers about his college team, the first game he played for his college team. Ask him, did his sister ever give him advice that worked for him? He doesn't have a sister. The question still stands.
Well, that hairy girl down the hall.
Same thing.
Grandmother, sister, cousin, aunt. Everybody's got one. The hairy girl down the hall. By the way, can you name the quarterback that was named in the Epstein files? The former Seahawks quarterback that was named in the Epstein files.
Was it Myra?
No.
Was it Jim Zorn?
How dare you? I have his jersey. No, it was Russell Wilson.
Wow!
But
I thought he was religiously predisposed to not fool around.
Well, it seems that he is. The context is evidently somebody was trying to sell him Epstein's plane. And so they contacted him trying to see if they could, I guess these guys get rich people's, I guess there's a list of rich people's phone numbers.
Well, and Russell, you're not making that kind of money anymore, so forget about buying a jet.
Right. They called him and they said, do you want to buy a plane? On several occasions. And he, on several occasions, much to his credit, said no. Now, I don't know if they called him and said, you want to buy a plane? There's two 16-year-olds still in it.
In the baggage compartment.
There are some players that
check the overhead bins.
That would go. I mean, you would say, yeah, okay, who knows? Yeah, why not? But he was smart enough to not want to have anything to do with it, him, them, as far as we know, as far as the papers can tell. So, congratulations to him. He's got he does not have to run out of his house down the alley with a somewhat maddened Sierra chasing him, a la Tiger Woods, who, by the way, did you know Tiger Woods is going out with a Trump?
I did not know that.
Vanessa Trump, I think it is.
That doesn't ring a bell.
And I don't know how she figures in the family sapling, but yeah, he's been dating Vanessa. I think it's Vanessa Trump.
Does she have hotels named after her?
Well, if she's a Trump, she does. I kind of wish it would have been.
You never know what Trump you're dealing with, though. They say a Trump is taking care of this for you. What Trump are we talking about? And I would like to know, because it could be Uday and Kusei, and then that ruins the party from the get-go.
It's not. Well, it's obviously not. Well, no, actually, if Tiger Woods was dating Uday or Kusei, it would not ruin the party. It would. I think it would enhance the party. I think the party would be quite interested in that.
It'd be different. That's for sure.
Well, especially because the party seems to have a thing against homosexuals, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think that would, without a doubt.
So on and so forth. I like that phrase.
Yeah. So on and so forth. It would be, let's see, Trump Tiger King. No, Trump, Tiger Woods. Come on, give me something here. Anyway, he's dating a Trump of some shape, manner, or form.
Well, you can criticize golfers for their garish pants and their ideas about rituals before the round of golf begins, but if you take your Republican golf pants to the point where you date a Trump, I think you've gone too far. I think you've missed the. You're not reading into your own bio a negative that you want to avoid. You're just accepting that. You're just saying, let them know that I'm dating a Trump. I want the world to know that I'm dating a Trump.
It is Vanessa Trump, the ex-wife of Donald Trump Jr. They confirmed it in March 25. Bonded over golf and have appeared together at public events, including celebrating Wood's 50th birthday last month. They are their children's mutual interest in golf.
Now, wasn't he also married to the previous girlfriend for the governor of California?
No, they were going to get married, and then he dumped her. Remember, and then they sent her off to be ambassador to like Greece or something like that.
She has a resting bitch face, as it's called in the business.
Yeah, she's anyway. She's not. I mean, I wouldn't want to wake up next to that.
You would wake up though. You'd be awake. You would be suddenly.
Well, I wouldn't be asleep next to it. I mean, I wouldn't have anything to do with it. If it was 2:00 in the morning and I was in a bar and desperate, I wouldn't have anything to do with it. She's bad looking with makeup. I can't imagine what she must look like without.
Right.
So, and I'm sorry, ladies, women's, if you're saying I'm objectifying her, but believe you me, if anybody deserves objectifying, she's it. Vanessa Trump was married to Donald Trump Jr. for 13 years before the divorce in 2018. Wow. Tiger Woods, of course, you know him. He's a longtime friend of the Trump family and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Trump back in 2019. So he's 49. She's 40. So he's 50 now. She's 47. It's a marriage made in heaven, or a match made in heaven. I don't know if there's wedding bells.
Has he wrecked any SUVs lately? Thinking of like picking her up, taking her to the In and Out, or they destroying the automobiles.
He wrecked that Genesis SUV a couple of years ago, and
sure did.
More than a couple. And that vehicle, I remember doing a story on it at the time. Was constructed so that it caused him less injury than he might have received in another vehicle. The way that that vehicle was constructed with the crash zones, collapsed, and it only resulted in broken ankles for him, where they had looked at it and tested it and said that many other SUVs, if impacted like that, the floor would have come up and crushed his legs. So he was lucky. He was driving a Genesis.
He was seriously hurt, but he was still lucky.
He was seriously hurt. But you can be seriously hurt and lucky, and he was that. So yes, he's palling around with Vanessa Trump. I expect to see them at the Super Bowl. Did you see the Grammys last night?
Yes, it was a challenge to stay with it.
Yeah, it's gotten like that. Yes, I did not watch it because I wasn't up for the challenge.
Well, neither was Cher. Cher was not up to the challenge.
I heard. Yes, I heard that Cher. Not only did Cher muff somebody's name, but she also walked off stage or started to walk off stage at the wrong time. And
she said, "I think this is where I just walk off the stage." And she walked upstage, directly upstage, and the host, Trevor Noah, said, "Cher, before you go, would you mind introducing the nominees for the best album? That's why you're there. Would you mind just introducing them?" She said, "Oh yeah, here's the nominees for the best album."
Sure. Well, how old is she? 80 something?
She still looks younger than whatever her chronological age is.
Oh, yeah.
But she was confused as to her duties last night as a guest of the show.
Well, I think excuse me. I think at 80 something, and with what she's ingested in her life, you could probably make a case that she should be excused. Although I guess the question becomes, which rock star will it be? Lady Gaga that switches her affections from the late Tony Bennett and takes up with Cher now? Somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to take up with Cher.
She did Tony Bennett. She did Judy Garland.
Right. So I think at some point
it's time for Cher to have an
assistant,
someone to accompany her from hither to thither.
Yeah. Now, when I saw on Saturday Night Live, she didn't look out of whack, but they probably. I know they escort them to the stage. They escort them back off the stage. There's somebody that's assigned to that particular person, both the musical guest and the host. And there's somebody that comes and as soon as they're done on stage, because they got to move that thing quick. When they finish the musical number, they have to get that stage going for Weekend Update.
Yeah, and they don't rehearse. They don't. With these award shows, you have a big part. You have something that has to be said, and it has to be said in this order. And to ensure that you don't do it correctly, they make sure that they don't rehearse.
Right.
And that's where they leave it. They say that's good enough for the kind of television we're going to do tonight.
Well, and it works 90%, 95% of the time. It is. I mean, I think it's. I don't know. I think it's charming when something like that happens. I think that it's. I mean, it's live television. It's an award show. No harm, no foul.
That's what Trevor said. I love live television.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I'm with him on that. I think that when you have those flubs. Now, the one a few years ago with La La Land. That was an epic flub. I mean, that was more than a flub. That was a disaster. But I still found it to be, funny. I mean, I'm sure
it can be hilarious.
Won and lost the award, and of course, who could ever forget the slap?
That was a big time show.
Yeah, which may be the.
It was so crazy that everyone thought that it was staged.
Yeah, well, I did too at first, and then when I went to YouTube, because the good thing about today is if something like that happens, the network isn't going to show it to you on replay, but somebody will have captured it on YouTube and have it up there literally seconds after it happens.
And slowed it down so you can see the contact.
Right. So I went to YouTube after it, and once I went to YouTube, the second time looking at it, it was like, I don't know if this is staged. This looks a little too real to me. And it turned out that it was. But those kind of moments, in Cher's case, it was nothing. Who's going to remember it except, Trevor Noah probably. But I'll cut Cher some slack. I'll cut an 80-year-old superstar diva. Cher, I'll cut slack. Dolly Parton, I'll cut slack too. Jane Fonda gets slack. Lily Tomlin gets slack. Those people get a wide berth, in my opinion, in a live show, in an award show, in a non-scripted television show.
I'm looking here at a story about Steve Rabel, the play-by-play guy for the Seahawks. Is he retiring? They don't say he's retiring. The headline is, "My body is telling me something," says Seahawks icon Steve Rabel. He hints at a difficult crossroads. But they don't say he's going to retire. It's one of those stories that's not a story, where they refuse to do the who, what, where, when, and how.
I think that, by the way, Cher is 79 years old. He retired from anchoring several years ago, probably 4 years ago. He retired from the news anchor desk.
Right.
From listening to him, he doesn't sound like he's lost anything as far as football announcing.
Well, that's good.
He spots the plays. He gives you what's going on. He yells too much, but that seems to be the style of today's football announcer. Yeah. What was I listening to last week? I was listening to the Denver game, the Denver feed, Denver radio station. And I forget who was doing their play-by-play, but I thought the guy was great. He wasn't yelling. He was describing the game to you. His voice went up a little bit when Denver was, made a play, a good play, but he wasn't, he didn't act as if a spaceship had landed when somebody from Denver kicked a field goal. So I like Steve Rabel. He's a good guy. I worked with him for a number of years. Solid dude, and I'm glad he's going to get to call another Super Bowl.
Well, I hope he doesn't retire. If he has to, that's another matter.
But, well, you know what? After Dave Niehaus passed away, I started to think that these guys should retire. Should come to a point where they don't, where they get to go see some of the world, like Rick Riz. Rick Riz has announced that this will be his last year as a Mariner broadcaster. And Rick, who is one of the most solid human beings I know, and has become a really good friend of mine. Rick is doing it right. And I think part of it is, he's 72, I think. He'll be 72 when he retires. And he realizes that it's time to go see a little bit of the world. How many of these baseball guys, football, play-by-play guys?
He should go to a National League town. He hasn't been there in years. Give him a chance.
He's always in National League towns. Remember, since interleague play started, he gets to see. Matter of fact, he sees National League towns every year. So,
you have a good point.
Yeah, I don't know why he would go to a National League town, but he deserves some time to see the world. He played, and then once he played, he got a play-by-play job in the minor leagues, and then from the minor leagues, he came up to the Mariners back in 1977. So this guy has only known baseball in the spring and summer and fall. So maybe he wants to take a ride out to Leavenworth on Route 2 and see what color the leaves are.
Curiosity will set in. You'll see. You'll get curious, Rick, and you will travel somewhere and see something that you haven't seen before.
Well, I know that he's. I know that I've talked to him about this. I think he wants to go to Italy and spend some time there.
It's a good idea. The Senate and the people of Rome say, "Come on over."
Yeah, I think he wants to. I think there's things that he wants to do. He's got a charity that has a full time director, and maybe he wants to be a little bit more involved in that. So, good luck to him. And if Rabel decides to retire, you go out on top, right?
Absolutely.
And you don't announce it now because you don't want to take anything away from the team. And Rabel is a former player, so he understands the concept of not taking away from the team. So if he retires, um, I would, I wish him the best. I hope
Most
that,
certainly. I join you. I join you there. I second that emotion.
yeah, I hope that he gets to call a win next Sunday. I hope that he gets to go out extremely on top with a win and the parade and the whole deal. Um, yeah, I think it's, one thing I am fighting. I'm glad that I'm glad that there's been some space between the last Super Bowl and this Super Bowl that the Seahawks were in, because I think when you win a few in a row or you get to the championship game a few times in a row, maybe it loses a little bit of its luster.
Like New England, I was thinking, are the New
New England
England fans
go back
as
to
hot?
even the 49ers. I think when they were at their dynasty stage, I think people took it for granted. Um, Not the first time they were in, but certainly the second and the third. I always thought there was a certain. Well, yeah, we're in the Super Bowl. Uh, I think people around here are excited about being in the Super Bowl
They
once
should
again.
be,
You
considering
always get excited, but there's a
to earn
certain
it. They earned
yeah,
it in a really fabulous way.
yeah. There's a lot of people who haven't seen the Seahawks in a Super Bowl, just like there's everybody who's never seen the Mariners in a World Series. Oh, they came so close. Um, so we'll see. I haven't looked at I'm not a fan of the gambling line, so I haven't seen how. I know that the Seahawks are favored in the game. I
I
don't
would think
know.
so.
Yeah, I don't know by how much. I don't know what the point spread is or anything like that. So, and we'll talk about that later in the week. Um, Contacted Rod Long to join us on one of our shows this week. So we'll see if we
Great.
can get him.
Giants have a new second baseman, Luis Arraez from the San Diego Padres. That means we have a new first baseman, Devers from Boston. New second baseman, Luis Arraez from San Diego. Last year was the initial run with Willie Arraez at shortstop, and we got our old reliable third baseman.
Well, you also signed a pretty decent outfielder.
Yes, Bader. Bader is our man.
Is a former Met. Was a former Philly. Last year he was a Philly. The Mets didn't want to keep him around for some reason. But he seems to be. I remember him being pretty good. I thought he made some nice plays out in center field. I thought it was a more than adequate center fielder. So I don't know where it'll be used on the Giants. I don't remember what the Giants' outfield situation is, but I
They're
think
going to
he
put
was
him
a
in.
little
Going to put him in
pickup.
center, and
Wouldn't
June,
they
the
have?
center fielder, the
Uh,
Korean kid, will go to right field.
so that's a nice pickup for the Giants. I mean, the thing that sucks about the Giants is that they're in the same division as the Dodgers, who signed anybody that they could.
They signed all the living baseball players that could sign their name. That was it.
Well, I don't know how they do it, but they seem to keep that clubhouse together. And it's I got to give him credit. I hate to give him credit. I'd like him to be cash only, but you got to say that when you have that amount of star power in a clubhouse, you can keep them all on the same page, which the Mets couldn't do last year.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. It isn't. Guys don't just show up at the clubhouse and sit next to each other in the clubhouse and get along. There's all sorts of stuff. There's cliques. There's different people that get together. You now have in not and I hazard to guess that it's not just in the Mets clubhouse. I think it's in many clubhouses where you have a political divide.
Yes.
Although baseball players tend to be predominantly Republican and predominantly um, conservative, there's still
Which explains some of the foolish things they do in the infield and outfield when given a chance to chase a ball. The ball can make a fool out of you more than Donald Trump can.
So I think that the fact that Dave Roberts can manage that clubhouse and keep that that whole thing together is pretty good. And listen, I'm no Dodger fan, and I don't want to give the Dodgers any kind of credit. I hope the whole thing blows up on them, to be honest with you, and nobody gets along. But
they have the unified goal, then it's achievable. We're going to win them all. We're going to go to the World Series. We're going to be world champs. That's our goal. That's our idea. That's what we do every day. And you come along with that. Don't do anything else. Just devote yourself to winning the World Series and you'll be fine. You'll be a good Dodger.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope that something goes wrong and they don't have multiple guys on the team have a bad year. I don't want to see anybody get injured. I hate injuries.
Health is the hardest thing to track.
Yeah, because you can't manage that. You can't tell somebody not to get hurt. You can't tell somebody not to play hard. You can't tell somebody all of the things that would keep you from getting injured. Just can't happen. I do want to get back to the Seahawks because I want to spend time this week just kind of jumping on the Seahawks. It was nice to see the send off that the Seahawks got yesterday from the practice facility over in I almost said Kirkland, over in Renton. A bunch of fans in the hundreds showed up despite the team not telling them what time that they were leaving because they didn't want people to show up yesterday for various reasons. Some of them being security, some of them being there's construction work going on over there at on 405 by the Seahawks facility, and it is a little there's no place to park cars. You have to park your car and walk a considerable distance. So I thought it was, it was good that people showed up. I always wonder how many of the players look at that and say, "Look at these idiots standing out here in the rain,
waving at a plane,
waving at a bus going by," and how many are truly touched by it? Now they're all going to say they're touched by it. Nobody's going to say, "But I've been on the bus, okay, and so I know how it works." And there are certainly, it's like any group of people. There are people who have different opinions, and there are some players that look and go, "My God, how do you have a life?" So, but I think there is a special relationship between the Seahawks and their fans. Probably, I mean, I don't know. Is it more than other teams? I think that many other teams in the same situation would probably have a bunch of people hanging out waiting for the bus to go by. Nothing wrong with it. Show them the signs, show them support, dress up in the jerseys.
well, it depends how long you've suffered. The Super Bowl is a reward for the fans and the team and everyone involved. But if you have suffered many seasons, and the Seahawks have had their share, but they've had their share of success. And
Right.
I think that plays a part in it. For instance, if the Buffalo Bills ever got to the Super Bowl and never win it, you would say that was just desserts. Because if anybody has suffered in a Super Bowl suffering, which is the worst kind of suffering you can suffer, you can understand how they've earned it. You can understand how it's going to be sweeter than for many teams. Cleveland Browns, if they ever get the Super Bowl win, they have suffered, and they're, from the looks of it, they're going to be suffering again this year.
A lot of suffering going on there, but nobody has suffered more than, ladies and gentlemen, your New York Jets.
New York Jets.
Nobody has suffered more than that.
And they have a Super Bowl win. They have a Super Bowl win for reference. They know what it's like to be champions.
No, they don't. No, but the only guy that worked for that team that knew what it was like is, Namath is still alive. Right. He's around, so he knows what it's like, obviously. But what was Frank's last name? I can't remember now. But there was a guy that worked for the Jets. You met him a couple of times. Frank. Oh, crap, I can't remember his name. But he was the PR guy for the Jets. And he was there for 1963. And you and I would see him at the Super Bowl when we would go. He was the gray-haired guy, slight build, that was running the media center along with Gary Wright, our friend Gary Wright from the Seahawks. And Frank Sanchez, I forget now. I can't remember. It'll come to me. Anyway,
he had seen the real deal.
And it must have been painful for him, because here's a guy that was the guy in charge. He was with the Jets he's been with the Jets. He was with the Jets since 1963. He has gone to all of those Super Bowls. Every one of them. Every one of them. And has not participated as a team in the Super Bowl in any one of them. That has to be a record for futility of some kind for a sports executive. I mean, they just every year. And I think it was, I just think about, he passed away, I think last week. And
it's too bad.
Frank Ramos is his name. Passed away last week. real nice guy. I mean, I saw him last time I saw him was at the 2005 Super Bowl, and he had a great memory for people. So as soon as you walked into the media center, he knew who you were. He knew if you belonged there or didn't belong there. He was. I always found him to be, a good guy. And of course, when you're introduced to somebody by Gary Wright, that's like you're a made man.
Right. You're
He's
done
a
for the
friend
day.
of ours. No, he's a friend of mine. That's the difference. He's a friend of ours. He's a friend of mine. When you get introduced to somebody by Gary Wright, you're getting introduced. Gary doesn't give his friendships, just hand them out.
He wrote a letter of recommendation for me when I got canned for KJR.
He's a great guy, Gary.
Yeah, he did a good job.
That's why, he's one of those people, Gary, and his assistant, Sandy Gregory. There's people over at the Seahawks. Mike Flood is another guy. He joined the Seahawks in the Paul Allen era. And they just have some really great people working for him. I talked to Flood last week, and he's as excited about going to the Super Bowl now as he was the first time we won, or they won, I should say. I hate that we won because I'm not part of the team. And just in case, just to let you know, if you want a ticket for the game, minimum $4,500 face value,
cash only.
Well, I'll put it on your credit card, but that's the value of the ticket. That's what it costs for you to buy it from the league.
Won't there be a slight Santa Clara markup to get it to like 5,000?
I don't know, but if you want to buy it, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy one from the league, they're $4,500. And unfortunately, I don't have a spare $4,500 lying around. And I didn't really, I probably should have applied for a media pass way back when, and I just didn't. But I'm going to next year. I'm going to see if I can get my media pass back because I wouldn't mind going to one more Super Bowl. In some ways. And I know I could go down there and go to the parties in the NFL experience. It's a lot of walking, Michael. I don't walk that good anymore.
Well, the excitement of it is what I enjoyed is doing the show that week because you take your equipment with you everywhere you go. You record everybody that you see. You compile these shows with guests, and it's a lot of fun. And there's stuff you can plan, but there's stuff you can't plan. You can't plan running into Ray Nitschke in the hallway.
Right. And well, the great thing is now is you don't have to take your equipment with you. All you need to take with you
your phone
is your phone. You have a record, your recorder right there.
Right.
If you're smart, you carry an external microphone so that you can get good clear sound on it. But
bring your phone charger everywhere you go.
But yeah, you take it everywhere you go, and you meet people, and of course they have all of these different events that go on during the week. Everybody's that's hawking something has some kind of thing going on during the week. And if you're on that Super Bowl media list, I mean that's where I got Steve Young, an interview with him one year when we were down in Arizona. That's what I got. I remember. We got interviews with several people that weren't at the media center, which is just a freaking zoo.
They're just out and about.
And I can't imagine how it is now with influencers, and how that's changed the Come to think of it,
change the atmosphere.
yeah, change the whole composition, I should say, of the thing. So I don't know, and there is something that I did think about of going to it as a fan. Um, I remember going to Stanford as a fan, and it was nice. I mean, it was bare bones. It wasn't like it is today, but it was nice. It was, it was you went, you sat, and it was a college stadium, but you went, you sat on your cushion, and and you had a good time.
KRQR did the pregame show from Stanford. It's the longest pregame show in football history. We came on at 6:00 and went till 1.
Wow. Well, nowadays they have, who can shoot an oyster through their nose, and who can. I mean, it's just
I can't do that. Can you shoot an oyster through your nose?
No, but I've seen it done.
I've
seen it done.
That's something I don't know if I want to see.
No, you don't. I'm telling you now, you don't. But the guy won a pair of Super Bowl tickets. Now, in fact, he didn't just shoot the oyster through his nose. He took the oyster, the shell, snorted the oyster, spat it out of his mouth, put cocktail sauce on it or hot sauce, and then ate it.
Okay.
And that won him a pair of Super Bowl tickets.
I like it. There was no time to get squeamish. Just keep going. Take it one more step.
No, you're not thinking. What I gotta wonder is, how do you practice for that? Do you practice for that in your kitchen? Do you keep somebody by in case you start choking on the oyster? How, because I would think that if you got a big enough oyster and it gets lodged in there, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you got some breathing problems.
Yeah, you want to have somebody close to you.
The avenue for air has been blocked and compromised.
Yeah, you want to have somebody close to you to give you the Heimlich maneuver. Because I saw a video on that recently, and the Heimlich maneuver does not work all that well if you try to do it over a chair or a sofa or, some kind of furniture implement.
It's a maneuver, and chances are you'd be better at it if you practice the maneuver, but you don't get a chance to practice, so you just have to go with what you think you know. Go with maneuver. Go with the maneuver. That's all I'm saying.
Have you ever seen anybody save somebody's life with the Heimlich maneuver?
No.
I have. Matter of fact, it was Rick Riz that saved somebody's life.
Really?
At the Metropolitan Grill. One night we were having dinner. Him, I, and Kevin Kremen were sitting there having dinner, and some guy started choking.
A stranger?
Say again?
Was it a stranger?
Yeah, we didn't know. He was sitting at a table across from us, and he started choking. And Rick got up, got behind the guy, did the Heimlich maneuver. The guy spat the piece of steak out, and he was a hero. I mean, he literally saved the guy's life.
Now I think we'll have a little dessert.
Yeah, I think I'll sit down and have the creme brulee, please. Something soft.
Yeah. I think I've earned it.
I'll pass on the baked Alaska.
And I'm done with my steak. I've had enough.
Well, no. Can you wrap that up to take home? Oh, man. Did you see Bad Bunny's speech last night?
Yeah. It was not bad.
I thought it was beautiful. How can you be against this guy? How can you, with a speech, he didn't talk about himself.
think who we're talking about. He hates everybody. He hates everything. He hates everyone. He hates the fact that he hates it, and he can't be cured of that. He's a permanent hater.
But the sad thing is, though, is he gets people to hate the person too. Now, I don't know much about Bad Bunny, and I listen to his music. I like what he does. I grew up listening to salsa, to Fania All Stars, to Tito Puente, to Joe Cuba, to Joe Cuba, a bunch of those people. I mean, that was, part of the New York music scene, part of the growing up in New York. As you listen, you listen to that Celia Cruz, and Bad Bunny has fusioned, that sound plus rap, plus rhythmic Caribbean into some nice music. I don't like everything, but I like a lot of it. But to go up there after you've been the object of so much hate and to deliver a speech, and I urge you, if you did not see his speech last night, to go on YouTube and watch Bad Bunny's speech, his acceptance speech. It's short; it was 1 minute, less than a minute, I think. And he was elegant. He was well worded. His message was of love and acceptance. And he didn't stand up there and just rail on Donald Trump for a minute, although the message was clear that it's about love and love will conquer where hate won't. And I just thought I thought it was a great speech. I thought with all the Trump bashing that went on last night, and there was a lot of it, obviously, and well deserved. I wonder if the score of Melania will be nominated for an Emmy. Here, the score is quite good.
Well, it's possible.
A lot of money for a lot of rights to a lot of music. Michael Jackson's in there, and a bunch of stuff, which proves that people will sell out for anything. But it touched me. What'd you think of it?
It was well done, and it was an international message of acceptance and be cool. Understand that this is you're charged with living your life as opposed to all the negativity. Accept the idea that you can be a positive person and a loving person. It's more powerful than being a hater.
Yeah. It just I'm so glad that he I don't know if he wrote it himself. It looks like he did. Seems like he did. If he didn't, he delivered it superbly. And again, after that speech, I don't know what could you say? How could you hate that guy?
Well, that's exactly what Trump said. I hate the whole gathering was useless, and CBS should be thankful that they don't have to do it again next year. It was a terrible gathering of horrible people, and I don't like them, and you shouldn't like them either. I'm your president.
Well,
this is what I think about the Grammys. This is what I think about network television.
The ones that you shouldn't like are the record executives. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that you have to think about. I didn't. Now you watched most of the show, right? Did they pay any tribute to Howie Klein?
He got mentioned in the
in memoriam.
Yes, and the memoriam was long and well done. They made special effort for Ozzy, special effort for Sly, special effort for a couple of other artists that had a lot of influence on the industry and died last year. So it was better than usual in terms of the in memoriam because they had a chance to focus on the more important artists for a little bit throughout the show.
Good. I mean, I don't see how you would have ever excluded Howie, but I remember the year that with the in memoriam with the Oscars when they didn't put Andy Griffith in there. I mean, how the hell could you not include Andy Griffith in the Oscars?
The in memoriam is so touchy. You have to use kid gloves, get everybody in there. There's nothing wrong with including everybody. Don't make the mistake of thinking, we'll take Mikey and Vinnie out. We'll take them out of the thing.
I still am bitter about that. Now, part of it is because he starred two of I think the best movies of the 1950s, No Time for Sergeants and A Face in the Crowd.
Right.
A Face in the Crowd, it should be required watching for anybody who wants to be in media. Anybody who wants to be in media, anybody who wants to do this job, to get on and speak in front of and sell things and speak in front of people and thinks that they are infallible, indestructible, invulnerable, and that their popularity will go on forever.
You'll pay.
You'll pay at some point. It'll catch up to you at some point. So anyway, yeah. So I've had a little bit of a dislike for the Oscars ever since they left him out.
It's the most serious mistake that they can make. In memoriam, do it right. Include everybody. Get good pictures.
It's 2 seconds.
Be creative. Right.
It's 2 seconds. You mean to tell me that you're worried about the show running long? You're worried about, what was Pierre Cossette standing up there and saying, well, we probably should leave Andy Griffith out. We'll put the third cameraman from the Groucho Marx movies that died on January 1st. We'll put him in there.
Bump Andy.
But let's leave Andy out. Nobody will notice. Well, let me tell you something. This fat boy from Seattle noticed.
And you haven't forgiven him yet.
And he ain't forgetting it. Well, Andy was Andy, man. I mean, Andy was cool.
My favorite line from his comedy career was, "I believe I will have another big orange." What can we get you? Do you need anything? Well, I believe I will have another big orange.
He was one of the best trips I made when I looked back east was to Mayberry. The town. I can't remember the name of the town off the top of my head, but Mount something, and Mount Airy, I think it was Mount Airy, North Carolina, which that's where Griffith was from, and the Andy Griffith Show is an industry there. They've done up the streets. They have you can buy a tour in a Mayberry police car. Have a couple of 63 Fords painted up like
can have a dinner date with Aunt B.
They have an Aunt B's restaurant. Yep. I mean, Aunt B's restaurant. We ate at Aunt B's restaurant. They have the jail. They have the motorcycle with the sidecar that Barney had in that episode that he bought.
Get yourself a haircut with Floyd, the barber.
At Floyd's barbershop, you get your hair cut at Floyd's barbershop. And people do it. I mean, the place, you go there, in the spring and the summer, and the place is loaded. There's, the sidewalks are jammed. It's great. I don't know who is left, if there's anybody left from that show.
Yeah.
Ron Howard, obviously.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
I know Clint Howard died not too long ago, but I think other than Ron Howard, most everybody. Oh, I think Eleanor Donahue is still alive.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think Eleanor Donahue is still going. I'm trying to think of anybody else that I can think of uh, that's alive from that show. But anyway, he created a whole industry for Mount Airy, and they recognize that. They got statues of him all over the place in the fishing hole and the whole thing.
And he could have done the show in Burbank. No one would have known. It didn't make any difference. It was for his own peace of mind to recreate the South and that kind of town and where he grew up. And he knew the atmosphere would be perfect if they did it in his hometown. And
well, now they didn't film. They filmed it in the lot. I forget which studio filmed it. Was it Desio?
Didn't they do exteriors?
Like well, they had some exteriors, but no, I don't know. I think I'd have to go back and look, but I think everything was done. Everything was done on the lot because they used like the courthouse, the sheriff's office was in a couple of episodes of Superman before it was the courthouse in Mayberry. I think the whole thing was shot. I forget which studio it is. I have to look it up. But it's all it was all shot. I don't think anything was shot at Mount Airy. I think it was just the and again, I might be wrong, but I don't remember any of Mount Airy being used in the thing. Now, there is a Mount Pilot, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too far from Mount Airy. That was the city that was the capital, I guess, that they were always going to. But I don't know that anything was shot off the lot. There's another couple of places that were used in other TV shows too. So I'll look. I'm interested. Again, I don't think anything was off the lot. Well, we started out with the Super Bowl and ended up with Andy Griffith, and that's not a bad place to
let that be a lesson to you.
Anytime you can end it, y'all come back now. You hear?
You hear?
That's how you used to end the show, right? Y'all, you have that voiceover over the whistling guy. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Whatever. I'll see you Wednesday, Vin, and it'll be a wacky Wednesday. I promise you. It'll be Super Bowl week, and we're coming to a weekend where you get the opening of the Winter Olympics, followed by the Super Bowl. NBC is going to be very busy this weekend.
Yeah, I hope they got enough. Well, we should tell them that we are available. If NBC needs some help, we are tanned and ready to go. And we'd be more than happy to help NBC out in any way we can for the right amount of money.
Wouldn't mind waking up in Milano.
Right. And remember what our motto is, Mikey.
I forgot.
We can be bought.
No, we can be bought. Definitely.
We can be bought.
And we have examples that we can show you.
Yes. We can.
What you get when you buy us.
Ask the fruit guy at Pike Place Market. He will attest to it. All right, Mike. I'll see you on Wednesday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, pal.
Okay, buddy. Have a good Super Bowl week, and I'll see you over at Floyd's for a haircut.
Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. What a wine.
See you, Mikey. Thank you all for listening, too. We always appreciate it. See you on Wednesday.
We do indeed. See you, Ben.
See you. Do.